The first thing that we did wrong was not look for mentorship. We were just winging it, guessing the numbers, guessing the results.
What else would you have done differently?
Right. You focus on fires, especially if you're beginning in business, which before this I was 12. So
You've been through the trenches early on.
yeah, at 13, yeah. So we had 100% of our attention on the field, not on the office. So the biggest thing that we've changed over the last 2 years is we put a lot more attention in the office.
Welcome back to JackQuisitions. I am here live at the meetup in Miami, and I'm with Chris here with Diamond Plumbing. How's it going, Chris?
It's going good. It's a great meetup. I'm glad you guys put it on. Met a lot of great people.
Chris has an awesome story. I'm really excited to go through it. Chris, tell us about your background.
Yeah, so since I was 13, which sounds kind of crazy, since I was 13 to 16, I was going door to door on the weekends and selling marketing services to restaurants. And then at 16, my dad's always been a plumber. It was the first job he got when he was here. So he was that one man in a truck where we always hate. That was him. And when I was 16, he needed leads, and I was like, hey, I'll do the same thing I'm doing for restaurants for you.
If you're looking to buy or sell an HVAC or plumbing company, you need the best, not some generalist who just sold a Subway franchise last week, but you need the absolute GOAT of HVAC and plumbing M&A. And that's why I work with Patrick Lang at Business Modification Group. Patrick has sold more HVAC and plumbing businesses than anyone I know. He knows the buyers, he knows what the company is worth, and he knows how to get deals across the finish line. If you're an owner thinking about selling, or you're a buyer looking for your next deal, Patrick is the guy to go to. You want him in your corner, click the link below or head on over to businessmodificationgroup.com/JQ and get on his newsletter for exclusive deals or sign up for a free deal review and see what a business is worth.
So you went door to door for that?
For the restaurants, yeah.
And so was he?
13.
That is wild. And so that's how you got into lead generation local. How did you manage the internet side to it? Like, because the internet leads are obviously where most of the leads
are. So I was doing PPC for restaurants. I would acquire the restaurants at 13, yeah.
From the
yeah restaurants, and I had some like one-off. I had like a dump.
Well, I know this isn't super acquisition or home service related, but how did you learn? How did you learn? PPC for us, like, it's never worked. It's super hard.
Oh, it still is.
And so how did you pick up, like, just learning PPC at 15? I'm going to give you a few extra years here.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of it was YouTube, which sounds very basic. But
That makes sense.
That's it. It's just YouTube. I also went on Upwork and found people, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then they would give me, some tricks and whatnot.
It's really interesting. I mean, that's how I learned HVAC was 4 a.m. on YouTube. There are 10 biggest things wrong on an AC unit.
You guys are on the right track.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, so you're working for your dad. He's a one man in a truck. What does the business look like now?
Yeah, so when I was 16, one man in a truck, started doing leads. He's like, oh my God, I have too many calls, because he was answering the calls himself. And I was like, okay, I'll help you set up an office. But I never viewed it as we're going to build a business together. So it was just one thing after another. So we hired an office manager, which is still with us. That's the first, that's our office manager globally. Now we're at around 9 people. That's our head count. 6 trucks, 5 trucks now, but it'll be 6 soon. So big expansion recently, because in the beginning it was very slow. Then we went up. Then we had to fire everybody, and then so kind of typical story.
Yeah,
with the headaches.
that was our plumbing company, so I get it. And so with that, when you started, were you in like at your house, or did you guys rent a location? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. So in the beginning, my mom had like a thrift store, like a clothing thrift store basically. So in the back of the fitting room, in the break room, that is where we ran our office.
I love it.
We had no parking, so the technicians, which at the time was my dad and his brother, they would park their vans at home. And then, luckily, COVID, we got a great deal on a warehouse, which we're still in today. And that's where we are today. It's actually a great location, too.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's really neat. And so you've grown the last few years. Tell me a little bit about, like, as someone who built a company rather than bought a company, what would you do different in those early stages?
Yeah. The first thing that we did wrong was not look for mentorship. And that was the first 3 years. We were just winging it, guessing the numbers, guessing the results. And then at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, whenever we look at the numbers, we're like, wow, we made no profit, or we made very little profit. And we would question ourselves why, or we would see the bank account balance dropping and what's going on. So for the first 3 years, we just didn't have a mentor. And that's the one thing that really catapulted us the last 2.5, 3 years, was having mentors and watching videos like this.
Sweet. And like, was there anybody specifically that drew you?
Absolutely. So it was
Besides me and John.
me and John. Right?
Yeah.
So at first it was Tommy, because he had his book. So I actually went on Amazon. I didn't go the traditional
Yeah.
YouTube route. I went on Amazon looking for home service books, and there was only like 2. I think Ken Goodrich had an HVAC E-Myth book, and it was Tommy Mello's home service millionaire book. So I read his book. I went on his website, mentorship program, which I don't even know if he has anymore. It was like $200 a month.
Yeah.
And that was 2 calls a month, so that was unbelievable. So that was the first mentor. Then shortly after that, we had Joe Crucero's service MVP sales training, and that till this day, that's what we use for all of our sales training.
That's a great one. I mean, that's, like I said, was telling you earlier, that's the one we used. We've taken huge portions of that and modified it because it is it's one of my favorites. Especially the way that our business works has just been huge for us. Like, we have been, I can say this now, but it's kind of strange. We have an all women's sales team.
Really?
Our comfort advisor is a woman. I guess our technicians in the field are technically men. So on the plumbing side, they are men. But from an HVAC side, our comfort advisor is a woman. Our inside sales is a woman. And then our CSRs who sell, specifically the one who sells memberships, is the best membership sales the person is woman.
Really? That's actually really interesting.
And his emotional selling technique and all that kind of stuff, it really does well with them, and they're able to actually train then the male technicians on that. I don't know. It's
That's cool.
I love it. I think it has a huge portion of it, but it's a very good training sales technique. So you would have looked for mentorship earlier, looked for, and when were you kind of looking? Like, what year was that? Because $200 for a Tommy Mello, like, that's a killer deal.
I'm gonna whisper that price.
Yeah, I'll just say, if you asked him now, he would not get anywhere near Tommy Mello for $200 a month.
Man, what year was this? This was 2023.
Yeah.
2023. I mean, he just started YouTube and his podcast.
Yeah.
This was like really, really early into Tommy. Now everybody knows Tommy.
Yeah.
When I was with Tommy, it was like, and by the way, there was like 8 people in the group. It wasn't a big group either. So
That's really cool.
yeah.
Probably one of the most important decisions you can make in your ETA journey is which SBA lender you are going to pick. A lender who will be in your corner to get you closed on the deal, as well as set you up for future expansion. That is why we partnered with Alan Peterson from First Internet Bank. He and his team take a how can we approach, as well as I personally know they specialize in home service acquisitions. Mention the show or my handsome bald head and receive a reduced good faith deposit, as well as a detailed deal review and maybe even a buy-side pre-qualification. No strings attached. Head on over to alanfib.com, that's alanfib.com, or click the link below to get connected.
And so definitely mentorship. I would echo that 100 times. It was huge for me too. We had my journey's different though, because it went through Twitter. Ironically enough, it's like I met John on Twitter. I met all the big names on Twitter who they just bought businesses, and then within the last 5 years, they've all grown them to be the people who are now like John making. Well, he would say that a $40 million business is a baby business. So I don't know about that.
What am I?
You're welcome, John. I'm going to keep bringing that up until the cows come home. But so with those sales trainings, there's a big push, especially Tommy Mello and the Millionaire Tradesman, or whatever that book was called, on getting your technicians to be able to move more of a sales process versus the historical, hey, we show up, it's $60 an hour, and then we finish it, which is not overly viable for the business. How was getting your father and to be able to do that? Because a lot of the older technicians have trouble with that.
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I mean, it's a weird dynamic because obviously there's a big age gap, but we are partners in the business. We're 50-50 partners. But you still have to sell a 50-50 partner. I honestly am blessed because he's very open-minded.
That's good.
And the reason he's open-minded, by the way, is because the way he was doing plumbing before was not the way we're doing plumbing now. So he was working a lot with adjusters and in condominiums and HOAs, not with homeowners directly.
Okay. So he was doing like commercial, multifamily.
But when he did do residential, it was just like that. He would go. He was flat rate, which is
That's cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
Which for some reason that's just how he did it. I guess it's more common down here to be flat rate. So that wasn't a transition we had to make. But he had nothing, like he had no idea what sales is, you know, as far as plumbing. He's like, how do you sell plumbing? What do you mean? You just give them the price, you know?
Yeah.
So it was more of a show and tell. It was like, let's just try it. Let me try it. I was 18 years old when I started selling jobs. Let me try to implement the sales system myself and let's see if it works. And it worked. And then we had 2 technicians when we started with Joe Sarah. I showed them, I was like, listen, this is working. And then they did it, they implemented it, and within a few weeks, they're like, wow, our average ticket has tripled. You know?
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, so that's really just selling based on results. You know, let's just do a trial run, and then the trial run works.
Yeah, that's a great change management technique. Is like, let's just try it, because it lowers the limit to be able to commit and have to do it. What else would you have done differently?
Yeah. So the other thing that we would have done differently is, as a beginner, you focus on fires, especially if you're beginning in business, which I before this I was 12, so you know, I had never run a business. So the big thing is when you have fires, that's like where all your attention is going. And in our business, in our industry, most of those fires are always on the field. So we had 100% of our attention on the field, not on the office. So the biggest thing that we've changed over the last 2 years is we put a lot more attention in the office, in booking rates, speed to lead, and our customer acquisition cost.
Yeah. So now you know your numbers, you're focusing on speed to lead, you're getting those leads, you're able to grow the team. Yeah, that's huge. And we were talking, because I obviously bring quick staffers.
Yes.
I love overseas staffing. That was one of the big changes for us.
So we hired overseas. We actually tried, before we did overseas, we tried to hire a CSR here. We had a great one for a year. She went off to be a real estate agent. And then we were like, wow, this is going to be tough. So we went to look for, so we did it out of necessities because we couldn't find a good CSR.
Mm-hmm.
It was the hardest thing. And then we're like, I was the one, the same thing. I had to sell it on my dad. I'm like, let's just try. Like, if it works, it'll work. If it doesn't work, it's not a big deal because we don't have anybody right now anyways. Just our office manager that was answering the calls at the time and an answering service. So we tried one and it worked out great. And then from there, now we're going to 3 now, CSRs, different times. So in total, we're going to have basically 24-hour coverage.
That's awesome. Almost, yeah. Yeah, the 1 to 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Let's see something
Yeah,
calls.
exactly. Yeah, so we don't have availability like 1 to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. It's who's really answering on any time. We're actually going to start having AI.
So that's what we do. It's
Yeah.
like we only run to 10 p.m. and then AI picks up from 10 to 5 a.m. just because the amount of calls we get is like 2.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Very, very interesting story. I think that you have more entrepreneurial spirit than most of the 30 or 40 year olds that I talk to generally, which is absolutely wild. But you've been through the trenches early on.
Yeah.
Do you feel? I mean, and your mother owned a thrift shop. Your dad was a plumber.
Yeah.
Do you know anything other than entrepreneurship?
No. So my parents were immigrants. I was the firstborn in the U.S. In my family. So for them, it's like they couldn't get a job because when my father came into the country, he didn't necessarily have the paperwork to get a job. And they also actually, my dad still doesn't speak great English, still this day. And my mom doesn't speak English either. So for them, it was like, this is the only thing we can do.
Yeah.
So it's just an immigrant mindset. That's something that was instilled to me, and I'm going to be blessed till the day I die, grateful for that.
That's really awesome. I love the message in that, because a lot of times, I mean, especially with some of we talked about this earlier too, a lot of the younger generation that comes in sometimes can be harder to work with because the
Entitlement.
Then I'm not going to call it the entitlement, but the ability to want to work in with their hands in rough labor, kind of blue collar workforces. I feel it's shifting back, but for a very long time the pendulum was all the way on the right, and now it's coming all the way back to the left. So it's a very interesting dynamic now. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate the time today. If people want to find you, where can they?
So Instagram, Chris A. Cisneros. That's Cisneros with a C, and LinkedIn as well.
LinkedIn, okay. And Instagram. Is there good stuff on LinkedIn or your Instagram?
Not really. Like maybe sometime soon, you know.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, appreciate the time today, and catch you guys next time. Like and sub.